Seven-figure losses, anti-renovation bylaw in Toronto, $1 trillion passing from boomers to millennial kids, and new federal government programs for developers. All this and more on this week's Truth About Real Estate Investing show for Canadians. My name is Erwin Cito. I've been a landlord since 2005, a dedicated investment property specialist realtor since 2010, with close to $500 million in transactions. Proudly, I can count on one hand how many pre-construction condo deals we've done, as I've never been a fan of that strategy. I am a four-time Realtor of the Year to investors in Ontario. Since 2016, I've conducted over 300 hour-long interviews on this show with Canadian real estate investors on this podcast, and we're still going. Over the years, I've developed a few personal immutable laws of real estate investing. I don't private lend. I don't joint venture. I don't invest with novice investors. I don't borrow at expensive rates. I don't invest in small towns with poor economic fundamentals. All of the above is too much risk for me and effort, and friends of mine were recently burnt. I have friends who lent to a high-profile investor with projects west of the Greater Toronto Area and in Florida. If you check the investor's Instagram, you'd think they're living the dream. I thought they did. I was like, what am I doing wrong? They lived in mansions. They have an enormous Musco cottage. They fly private, a six-figure luxury car. Private school tuition fees, but behind the scenes, they've lost millions and millions of dollars, including a few seven-figure private mortgages from my friends. Confidence among them is low that any of that money will ever be recovered. Some lenders are even posting about it on social media as a PSA, so others don't lend to this investor who's run into tough times. One of my friends has actually taken over several of those failing projects. This highlights one of my biggest hurdles with private lending, one of my red flags. As a private lender, like any, I want my investments to be as passive as possible. I genuinely enjoy my work that I do and value my time with my family. But private loans, when they go bad, plan B is to usually take control of the project, which can include forcing sale or taking control by whatever means. That means, again, getting hands-on. Can mean also coming out of pocket to fund working capital or pay off other creditors ahead of you. Cherry would murder me if this ever happened, and hence we don't lend or joint venture with others. And then you add in the market like it is today, high interest rates, very low buyer interest, and combine that with lackluster projects. And then you have Plan C that comes into play: litigation or heavy involvement, managing development, renovations, getting hands-on. Hiring contractors, managing contractors, even running a business as if it's a hotel or recreational property, like getting involved with the business. Now you're an entrepreneur versus the plan was to be a passive investor. For my friends, many of these properties are in small town Ontario, requiring long, inconvenient commutes to places I'd never even heard of before. I've been in real estate since 2005, and there's still cities in Ontario, towns in Ontario, names I've never heard of before, and they keep coming up. And that's, again, those are places I would never invest in. I don't mean to say never, but they would not be my top 1,000 places to invest. Anyways, it's a sad situation for everyone involved, including the group of investors. There's a group of investors out there as well having to power of sale a portfolio out in New Brunswick, where and keep in mind, New Brunswick, they just replaced their conservative government after 6 balanced budgets and elected a liberal majority led by a university professor that promised a 3% rent control for next year. But 3% is better than what we have from Ontario's Conservatives, who set the rent cap at 2.5, the lowest in Canada. Even among conservative governments, socialism seems to be growing here, which is bad news for investors generally. Admittedly, I'm not immune to losses either. Just been reviewing some of my stocks. I've lost money on many things, and generally I find anyone who claims they've never lost money, I would never believe a word they say. Personally, stock tips have been my Achilles heel, leaving me with PTSD, as I always planned to own more Tesla shares and adding to my Bitcoin, which never did, thanks to PTSD from, again, losing the money on stock tips. Now compare that. So I've lost money on tenants as well. Don't get me wrong. I've had 2 tenants with significant non-payment of rents. One trashed my property, flooding it. But that total loss is somewhere around 50,000, and a lot of headaches and fights between, my partners and I. Anyways, So yeah, my loss from real estate. Again, we run a pretty tight ship. We've implemented best practices every step of the way. 50,000 isn't too bad compared to a lot of people out there. I was just reading a gentleman in Windsor, Ontario, is out of rent for 16 months, and the tenant just got a stay order, so no end in sight when this landlord will be get his property back. Anyways, lesson learned. Stick to what's always stood the test of time for me. That's long-term real estate investing based on economic fundamentals and cash flow. Just not here because I see no way we're here will get us where we got us to where we are today. So hence we're pivoting to the United States. And there shouldn't be any surprise because the city of Toronto just passed a renovation bylaw so that if a landlord needs to evict a tenant, even temporarily, to complete a renovation, the permit is $700 per unit. The landlord has to provide proof the unit would be uninhabitable during the renovation and rehome the tenant who is being temporarily displaced with comparable housing at similar rents or monies to cover the rent difference. This all means it's going to be really expensive for the landlord. Hamilton and London, Ontario have already passed a very similar renovation bylaw, and I predict more municipalities will pass the same legislation. Keep in mind, this is Ontario we're talking about. Well, actually, even just these three cities. There's so much old housing stock out there. Properties that were built like 50 years and older. Like they have tons of capex that needs to be done, like plumbing, like knob and tube wiring, like, ugh. Anyways, I don't envy those landlords. Hence more reason that I'm getting out of this, getting out of being an Ontario landlord. Next week, I'll tell you about how the Ontario Liberals, what they have planned. They've actually just, they have a private member's bill. I think it's Bill 163. No rent increase and no evictions for landlord's own use, including if a buyer's buying and wants to move in for 2025. This likely won't pass, but just to give you an insight into what the Ontario Liberals have planned for you should the Ford government ever fail. What's a real estate investor to do? For those interested in learning more about what I consider the best practice for investing in real estate, I want to personally invite you to a free hybrid training. We're going to talk about how Canadians can leverage U.S. real estate for passive, scalable, and tax-efficient income streams on Thursday, November 28th. This is hybrid, so folks in person, doors open at 7:30 p.m. It's 8 p.m. Standard Time. For folks online, we'll start on time at 8 p.m. Eastern Time online. So folks, for anyone who's not surprised or is surprised, I speak to real estate investors from Quebec, from investors from Quebec, BC, Alberta, Winnipeg, Manitoba, people who want to invest in the States. So we're offering this on hybrid, as in folks, if you're local to my office in Oakville, please come in person. Love to see you in person. For those folks who can't make the drive or flight or whatever, what have you, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time online, Thursday, November 28th. This is a free training. I've always been a fan of democratizing education, as in making education as inexpensive and accessible as possible so that you can protect yourselves and your family from there's going to be more inflation. If anyone doesn't believe me, then don't listen to this call. Don't tune in. Anyways, we're going to learn what you can expect to learn is where to invest and capitalize on a Trump government, how our clients are making money on the buy, as in where our clients are buying for under market, executing perfect BRRRRs, buy, renovate, refinance, repeat, without ever leaving home. Last month's episode was literally Shane from Montreal, who did not leave home for his perfect BRRRR in Memphis, Tennessee. Diversifying to the U.S. for better cash flow and returns and landlord rights. Let's not forget that. If you're an Ontario or BC investor or Quebec investor, we don't have any rights. In landlord-friendly USA, it's completely different. Now, for those of you with deeper pockets and want to be developers closer to home, I applaud you because that's what our country, society needs, more housing. And we have someone here who can help you with that. My old friend, Pierre Paul Turgeon, he's returning to the show as a former industry insider, as an underwriter at the CMHC. He's an active investor. He owns multiple apartment buildings. He's an expert, obviously, in this space. He's analyzed hundreds of large, lucrative multifamily investment deals all over Canada. And as a good Canadian, Pierre Paul wants to help more Canadians build housing, as he believes it is the developers in Canada who have the greatest potential for success, financial success, millionaires, become millionaire status, as he said, to make millions. And he's here to share about the latest federal programs for developers no one is talking about. I never heard about these programs before. So if you are a developer, builder, or plan to be, you'll have to give this episode a listen. Developers are who the federal government wants to support because they build housing that we so desperately need. Landlords, not so much. To connect with Pierre Paul, you can email him at ppturgeon@maoki, maoki.ca. Links are in the show notes, or his website, which is easy to remember, multifamilyinvestingcanada.com. Again, that's multifamilyinvestingcanada.com, where he offers free online resources, and also he's got a very in-depth course on apartment building investing. Please enjoy the show. Bonjour, Pierre Paul.
Hey, Erwin.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I can't believe you made time on your birthday.
Circumstances.
To be on this podcast where nobody listens to.
I did it for you. I did it for circumstances like, I don't come back to GTA too often. So, so this is, at the event, Rockstar event I wanted to come to, and I had the real estate forum in Ottawa. So went to Ottawa first from Calgary, then a little back west to Toronto to see you and a bunch of people. And and my son, by the way, I have a son in Toronto.
Oh, that's right. So, and before we're recording, can you share what his rent is?
Yeah, poor kid, 26 years old. He lives in a dog crate, as Ron Butler would say. $2,100 a month. No balcony, no utilities included. So yeah, a good chunk of his income going towards his rent.
Right.
Sad.
It's a newer.
Yeah, it's a new building. It's right. I haven't been to it, but it's near Front Street, like literally where all these new condos are.
Right.
Yeah,
it's a nice location.
It's a nice location. That's why he wanted that place, because his work, he can walk to work within 5 minutes.
Right.
And he's in carbon trading. Pretty cool. He studied what did he study? Environmental sciences, and got a job. Good kid. I think you've met him anyway. He's gonna be around this weekend.
Oh, fantastic. I look forward to meeting with the Rockstar.
Yeah, no, he's sharp. He's very sharp. Showed up, had never been to Toronto, unlike me, right? I studied here 40 years ago at U of T, but knew what he wanted to do, which was getting into the carbon trading market, and had done his research. One of those scientific guys, and showed up in person. Well, nobody was answering his calls or his emails when he was making inquiries. Showed up at the company. And this is a few years ago, so still a lot of people working at home. So there's only one guy in the office. It's a cool story, because I'm very proud as a dad. You'll relate to that, having two kids. There's only one guy there. He speaks French. He's black, from France, I think, or maybe some French country. And my son started, so as soon as he detected a French accent, they switched to French and started asking questions about the company and this and that, and asked for the contact of the owner of the company. It's called Clear Blue. And then this guy was kind enough to show him around the office. And then when the owner heard about it, he said, if this guy's half smart, you hire him, just because of the attitude. Like you and I, like me, I not grew up, but I went to school and spent quite a bit of time in Toronto. It's an impressive city for a kid to show up in downtown. I didn't have a place to stay. He got the job. And now every time the owner of the Clear Blue cites my son as an example.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud.
That's pretty
proud of my son. Yeah, pretty cool.
So he makes lots of money to afford this rent, right?
No, he does not. No, he does not. Yeah, well, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm sure your kids are going to be the same. My kids have been off the family payroll for a long time, extremely well managed with their money. And, we've talked about that over the years, like kids don't get financial education, but my kids, my goodness, Erwin, again, I won't take all the credit. They're smart. My daughter just finished her master's in cognitive sciences, hoping to get into med school. I don't have to give them any money. It's been like that for years.
Fantastic.
Very cool.
Fantastic.
Very cool.
Yeah,
thank you for having me. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too. Just because we're both landlords, of course, different scales.
Yeah.
Based on his rent and that he has to pay for utilities, he needs at least about $7,000 salary a month.
I don't know a month. don't know how, yeah, like I said, I'm not involved with his finances, but I think he
He's
makes
covering
80
himself?
grand. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
no.
okay. So you're not coming out of pocket to support him?
No,
Oh,
no, absolutely not. Like I said, my children have been off my payroll for a long, long time. Yeah, obviously, like you, we had money for their studies,
yeah, yeah.
but even my daughter, her master's, she had several jobs while getting her master's done. So no, it's pretty cool. Very, very, very cool to see your kids do well.
And then imagine
But
the,
it's sad at the same time that they can't have a proper life because so much money is going towards their rent. That's wrong.
right.
That's extremely wrong.
I'm gonna guess they're gonna inherit some assets though.
I'm working at it. We'll talk about that. I do have a legacy plan for my children. Of course I do. Of course, right? Or when otherwise, what? What do they have? What are they going to have?
Unless they have a pension, they're screwed.
Yeah. Can you believe I have a pension from CMHC?
Yeah.
I can't believe that, and I forgot to claim it. It's pocket money. Seriously, I forgot to claim it for a year. And then they sent me something, oh, you should claim it. So I got a big check because I didn't claim it when I turned 60.
Right.
Isn't that funny? But it's cool to say, hey, just pocket money, traveling money.
Okay, so we should, for the listeners' benefit, tell us a bit about the journey. How did you arrive to here?
Oh, journey continues. But
Is that you sharing how old you are today?
oh, I don't mind that at all. I'm 62 today. I'm born in 1962. I'm 62 today. So no, it's been a great journey. I think life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all, said Helen Keller. Remember her? She was blind.
and
Yeah,
deaf.
got it.
Teachers to the
yeah,
fellow
but
blind and deaf.
exactly. But for the purpose of this podcast, so I'm well educated, too well educated, I guess. So went to
Teacher
school.
and lawyer, was it?
Exactly. So I got a degree in political science from here and a minor in international relations from U of T, law degree and a teacher's degree from Ottawa U. So that's I spent too much time.
How old were you when you finished your
I
last
was
degree?
old. I don't want to go there. I was too old. It's too long at school. I agree. But you know what? I'm a curious person, so I think that it would explain that.
Yeah.
But then, so studied political science, international relations. I travel a lot. Have traveled all over the world, pretty much.
With work or pleasure? Or
Both.
Yeah, okay.
Both. Started traveling when I was 14. That was a lifetime dream of mine to travel. But I got a job for CMHC. CMHC way back doesn't exist anymore. Had an international division.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool stuff. The mission was to export Canadian housing technologies, right? So we had a guy that was had a building, like construction builder experience and how to sell our systems, like wood frame structure and all of that. And then it took a different tangent. We were approached by the World Bank and the International Finance Corporation, which is a subsidiary of the World Bank, to assist other countries providing consulting advice on how to set up mortgage default insurance, which CMHC does, right? CMHC is a mortgage default insurer. And so I joined that team. It was extremely exciting. I got to travel to places like Africa, to Gabon, got to go to Europe, Romania, China, obviously, a couple of times. China, am I missing anything? Oh, of course, it's quite in the news right now, the West Bank and Gaza, because I helped create PMHC, Palestine Mortgage and Housing Corporation, which obviously is not active in Gaza, needless to say, but I believe it might still be active in other Arabic countries like Egypt. So yeah, I was in Gaza City on behalf of CMHC a couple of times. While I'd land in Tel Aviv and go to Jerusalem, stay in Jerusalem. So yeah, very cool career. So basically we were working with these foreign countries to set up mortgage default insurance. And at that time, my job was more like as a contract negotiator managing these projects, and the Canadian International Development Agency was involved. So, but right away I wanted to be on the delivery side of those consulting services. So learning CMHC's core expertise, which is mortgage default, like underwriting and all that jazz. So, and of course I've always been a mountain person, loved the mountains. So I asked for an assignment out west in Calgary. Initially I started doing some single home underwriting for a few months. Then they said, I was kind of in a position doing rotation between different departments to kind of become a manager. So I started in single underwriting. Then they moved to me to default management in real estate for 4 years. So I had a small department.
For anything or default
No,
for
default.
single
So
family?
the default management is one component, and real estate. So the default management of what? Of apartment buildings.
Okay.
Good news being that apartment buildings rarely default.
Okay.
Even though it can be tough. You and I talked about a former student of mine that you had on this show.
Lots of gray hair.
Yeah, more than me. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, they rarely default. I was bored out of my mind. So, but my job was to get the arrears report every 3 months and see if something was getting out of line. Because the lenders have that responsibility to monitor whether a project is going towards in a default situation. So they have to report every year. I have to provide my financial statements to the lender, and they can see the health of the building, the project, whether it's going to be in a default situation. So that's one side. The real estate side is what we know. When people lose their homes, lenders have the responsibility to try to dispose of them. If they're unable, then eventually those houses would come back to CMHC. So I had a small department managed a couple of staff.
Across the entire country?
No, just the regional office, the Prairie. So that's Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and Northwest Territory, and then later on Yukon.
So you looked at a lot of real estate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what I did. Okay. But and so. But on the default side, there was nothing being defaulting, right? To this day, I mean, like I said, my former student, we won't name him, but it can be tough at times. It's real estate investing. But by and large, they don't default. Yeah. It's a cash cow for CMHC. Like the premiums, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes, depending on the size of the project, right?
Yeah, our mutual friend was sharing with me his cash flow is quite significant.
Yeah. Right. So that's what it is.
But that's what enables you survival.
Yeah. But I was bored, literally, and it's a good thing. Like apartment buildings, it's less risky than what you do, or when you know that, because you got one home, and whereas I've got multiple. No, but you know what I'm saying? In my case, we have multiple sources of income, right? So if you have a vacancy, you still have the rest of the building bringing in cash. So from that perspective, it's less risky than buying smaller, like a single home.
It's different, right?
Yeah.
I was able to exit anything.
Okay, for that perspective, you can dispose of your properties. But anyway, so I was bored. There was nothing. There were no defaults in this. Those were great years, especially when I arrived in Calgary, like 2002. Alberta was on fire. People that own multifamily properties, like I bought one building from a couple, an African couple, and they sold it to me 4 years after purchasing it. They made $1 million cash in equity. Values shot through the roof back in 2002 and 2006 during those years. So I was bored out of my mind. There were not too many defaults to manage. So I ended up going to, I said I want to transfer to the multifamily underwriting department, which I did for 4 years. So that's sort of how I learned the ropes. Right. And I saw how much, again, money people were making. Right. So I
started for people, for the novice, explain what CMHC underwriting does.
Yeah, so underwriting means just it's the risk analysis. What are the risk factors? Property, market valuation, and the borrower. Borrowers are a risk factor, and just go through the financial analysis of these risk factors and determining what is the appropriate loan amount that CMHC is comfortable insuring. And you got to keep in mind, CMHC is there for the benefit of the entire, all Canadians, right? It's a kind of corporation. Right. So the threshold, the tolerance for risk is not that high, to be honest with you.
Well, it's taxpayer money.
Taxpayer money, exactly. But it serves the country well. Like it enables, and we're going to talk about that. I got a recipe for people who want to become millionaire with the with opportunities in Canada. But it is a good system. As you know, you pay a lower interest rate by about 1%.
Yeah, and because of that,
because the loan is insured, the lender's risk is nil, 100% covered by CMHC in the event of default.
And then it costs the investors less on carrying.
Exactly, 1%, because then the lenders between themselves compete more to be able to get your business, because they know everybody. When your loan is insured with CMHC, you pay roughly 1% lower interest rate,
which is significant.
It's on your income, on your return on investment for sure.
So roughly what percent market share does CMHC have of the mortgage default?
I wouldn't know that. I've left so long ago, but it's
the
multifamily. It's absolutely. It's the majority. There's no doubt, right? Why would you not go through CMHC? It's a pain in the butt to get the insurance, certificate of insurance, but the return on investment is significant. So it is the great majority, unless you don't know. Because over the years, because people don't. I remember seeing some elderly people, landlords didn't know. I don't want to pay a premium. That's because they don't understand the system. They're probably not aware that you pay a lower interest rate because the loan is insured.
They're very novice.
Yeah. But generally speaking, yeah, any large REITs, all of that, everybody goes CMHC insured mortgages, of
Because
course.
anyone who does some basic networking.
Absolutely. But these people still exist. But anyway, yeah. So that's it is definitely the share, and it makes sense. But you got to be aware that it's a bureaucracy. So there are challenges, turnaround times, all the documents.
Changing rules.
That you got to be on top of that. And I think more rule changes are going to be coming. Yeah, but it's the majority. Yeah, it makes definitely sense. Yeah.
And then you jumped ship at some point.
Yeah, so I saw how much money people were making, and I said, okay, well, I want to do that when I grow up. So I grew up pretty fast, and I left my job. It's it's one of those day moves that you just got to be completely convinced.
Right.
You jump without a parachute. Back then, my kids were much younger. I have 3 kids.
But you were already investing before you left.
Yes.
You already had a significant proof of concept.
I had 2 buildings already at that time. Yeah.
Okay.
But mind you, one of them was a dog. I mean, it's not like you said earlier before we started recording, everything's perfect. We all make mistakes. It wasn't a huge mistake. We didn't lose any money, but I did have a dog. One of the first building, of course, was not ideal.
Right.
But I took action. And, so I survived. Was that?
There's no such thing as perfect.
No.
Everyone's gotta learn.
No. It wasn't a big lesson, but yeah. And my shareholders didn't lose too much money, so I was happy with that because I had 2 siblings. Well, one brother-in-law and one brother. So
family as partners, they better.
Yeah, well, it's the same as everybody, right, Erwin? We've all been through this.
But my point is that you had a proof of concept.
Yeah.
Before you.
Well,
jumped ship.
I had
Plus all the work
every
experience.
day. I could see Erwin. Like back in those days, people became millionaires overnight. I was underwriting in Alberta, and so it's different reality than here. It was rents were going through the roof. One thing that your listeners need to understand: there's an exponential factor when you move to the multifamily world, which is 5 or more units. The income is a driver of the value. And there's an exponential factor for every dollar in increased net operating income. And why? Depending on how compressed cap rates are, your property can appreciate $15 to $25 for every dollar in increased revenue and net operating income. Like Toronto, downtown Toronto, when you give a rent increase, you're making hundreds and millions of dollars overnight just by increasing your NOI. As long as your expenses remain constant, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's exponential. So in those years, I saw 2008. I was an underwriter, a multifamily underwriter, Erwin. I saw people make so much money, millions and millions, like by refinancing, taking equity out, buying more apartment buildings. Exceptional years. Obviously, we're not in an environment where this would happen. Even in Alberta, things have calmed down, although they're pretty hot. I mean, a lot of people from GTA are out and from everywhere, to be honest with you, are coming to Alberta because we still don't have rent control. And yeah, you can still make a buck. We still, let's look at your chart here in your training room. Yeah, U.S. versus Canada. Definitely.
Specifically Ontario and BC, though.
Yeah. But you had the U.S., right? U.S. is still, we are more like the U.S. in that regard. We still, it's a great place to be. We still, it's frontier mentality, people.
Entrepreneurial.
People work.
Business friendly.
People business friendly. People want to make a difference, and people are dynamic. Yeah, Alberta is a great place to be. Absolutely, but yeah, you can still make money, and it's not perceived as a bad thing, which is a major issue in this country.
You're rich, you're bad.
Hey, you're a landlord, Erwin.
Oh, you're especially bad.
You're taking advantage of those poor tenants.
That's painful here.
I hate that. I hate that.
And you've also been an educator or a apartment building?
Yeah. So I'm not sure where I'm at with that. So I had last workshop, as you know, is well rated. So it was called the Canadian Multifamily Investing Blueprint Program, 3-day, very intense, extremely intense. How to underwrite. Well,
this is serious stuff,
and it's serious money.
Dollars.
Serious money.
You better be diligent.
And I should say something. I don't want to scare people off, but because I even have a story to share with you. I just dumped a client yesterday, and I'll tell you why. Because you got to be true to yourself. But it's a different world. The mistakes are not permissible much. I mean,
especially if you have investor money.
Especially if you have investor money, because you're talking about a lot of thousands of dollars. Yeah. But yeah, it's the world of the multifamily is a lot smaller. There's not as many lenders. There's not many realtors, and everybody has to be a specialist. And if you screw up, you're going to be blacklisted. And I had this client. Huh?
We all talk. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Reference check. We reference check.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this guy's an old guy. Came to me a couple months ago before I took off for my vacation in Quebec at the beginning of August, and he wants to build an eightplex. So I said, look, here's what I need, and this is where I as a like put my legal background, my underwriting background. I'm very pointed. Like I like to cross my T's and dot my I's, and as you, this is the kind of business that this is.
You
This
have
is
to, yeah.
this is a strength. I said, the guy, here's the list. I need an appraisal. You want to build something? What is it going to be worth at completion? You want to build it? What are get me your construction costs vetted by a professional cost consultant. I go on vacation 3 weeks. I come back. I still don't have that. He's asking me all these questions. Tire kickers. But I felt sympathy or empathy, whichever, both. I guess I felt for him. He's an older guy. Like, listen, he was giving me his numbers. You know, a notebook with the rings, like to hold the sheets together, and all handwritten. I've been there before. This is not new, right? Mom and pop. But my mission, by the way, I haven't spoken about my mission. My mission when I created my program is to democratize the access to multifamily investing in Canada, right? And we are wealthy. We're lucky people. Mind you, we had to work for it. But so I saw this guy, reminded me of my dad. He's a bit disorganized, but I could see he had quite a bit of skill, which still, I'm not clear what they were, other than what he was telling me, but show me the money kind of thing. Because I asked him, what's your bore structure? Who's going to build? Right? And all that stuff. And it's 2 months later, I didn't get anything. So I said, okay. In my heart, I said, okay, I'm going to try to help this guy out. That's what I do. What are your numbers? So I looked at the handwritten numbers and I went in my spreadsheet, and we have pretty cool spreadsheets. That's something I really like about the brokerage firm that I'm with, but it shows all the financing scenarios at a glance. So you put in the numbers, income, expense, and all that. Then you get MLI Select, which is the thing of the day, although I have something else to tell you about. And 100 points, 50 points, 70 points, and then what loan amount you can get, then CMHC standard, which is the regular CMHC program, or conventional, right? Non-CMHC insured. But whether these numbers hold water or not, until I get something concrete, I can't. And then he goes beyond that, still hasn't given me what I asked him. I said, look, man, I could see that it would be too onerous. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's kind of, I wouldn't say belligerent, but unwilling to play, like not play, but to give me the documents. So I dumped him yesterday. The point is, there's great opportunities, tremendous opportunities. So we have a housing crisis. Erwin, in my opinion, and so my studies, given my studies, I've studied history a lot. I'm revisiting history, and actually history repeats itself, not in good ways.
Well, if it's not good history, yeah.
Well, we're joking about Canada being socialist. You just go what happens after the war, the Second World War, right? So I just if you want to succeed, you need to be a pro. There's a housing crisis that is the biggest problem this country has faced since the Second World War. Because of the economic impacts, the social impacts that we're talking, you and I, about, like, another example. Obviously, my son that we talked about, like a young professional that has hardly any disposable income after he pays for his rent. Well,
and he got a deal.
Yeah. Oh, you tell me that? I didn't know that. I don't know the market
a
enough. Are you kidding me? Wow, that's unbelievable. Well, I think he's going to get a better deal in a year's time, don't you think?
Potentially. Yeah.
Well, with the market crashing. Anyway, we can talk about that. But what I was going to say...
and just to finish that point, I also mentioned that landlord's probably bleeding money.
Yeah, he is bleeding money. He is bleeding money. Yeah.
Like probably, I'm going to guess at least 1,000.
Oh, for sure.
So it sucks for both the renter and the landlord.
Yeah, but just so that people understand how dire the housing crisis is, I picked up a radio show, and it was a bunch of inmates that were freed, were getting out of jail, had nowhere to live in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, somewhere like that, because of the housing shortage.
Places too.
See what I'm saying? So this is, and then we talked about people that divorce. You want to move out of the home. You don't have anywhere to go. You got to live together. Yeah. Imagine the tension in the household.
You're off duplexing it.
Yeah, there you go. That's an option. But and you talk about the encampments all across Canada. So it's
so sad. That's so sad.
It's very sad. In Ottawa, like I went to Ottawa for my law degree. Wow, along the canal, all these tents. Whew. So, but we're business owners. Our job is to identify in these crisis opportunities, and we got to build supply. But yeah.
And now you're a builder.
Not yet, not a builder. I'm a mortgage broker, but so the goal there, well, that's what I want to specialize in. Yeah, so building obviously requires even more sophistication in terms of numbers, higher risk obviously as well during construction and until
construction risk, which you didn't have as a
exactly. No, exactly. Yeah, a different business model, right? So the focus as a mortgage broker, and I think I didn't get to that. So for me, it's a logical continuation. My kids are gone. They're off the payroll, as I was telling you. I'm sure you look forward to the day your kids are going to be off the payroll. No, don't look for it's sad when they're gone. I miss them crazy. That's why I'm also here to see my son. It's hard. Don't blink. It goes fast. But no, I just see the opportunity. Like I said, in my opinion, this is the biggest problem that Canada's faced since the Second World War. So we need to build. So for me, as a mortgage broker, I don't do residential. Don't call me for residential. I don't do that. Because it's not my expertise and I have no interest in it. But I want to focus on multifamily building apartment buildings. And the investors are very sophisticated. And there's new programs. That's the recipe. If you want to be a millionaire, I know why you and friends of mine, many friends of mine, like I said, I just came back from Ottawa. They have a fund in the U.S. They're in Houston. I understand why you're doing it. That there's no more money to be made. You've got rent control. It's just
booming economy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Rent control, landlord friendly, business friendly. Like Alberta.
But I took a training. You remember Derek Lobo, right?
Yeah.
So I took his development course over the winter. It's way beyond what I need to know as a mortgage broker, as a commercial residential mortgage broker. But the reason is my job, I'm not a mortgage broker, by the way, Erwin. Let me take that back. See, I'm still in training, how I identify myself. I am a mortgage advisor. The reason being that I am already an investor in multifamily. I have legal training. You know, I've got all the CMHC background that I have. When I sit across from a client, I'll give the warning. You need to go and talk to your own lawyer, your own accountant. But so once I've said that, then I can go in and, well, may I suggest you do this and this and that, right? And it's for whatever reasons. So that's how I look at myself. And going into construction, you've got more sophisticated investors. And in order to solve this biggest crisis that Canada's facing since the Second World War, our governments, all three levels of governments will have to step in. They are not. You know that we're building less this year than we are, and it's only getting worse.
Yeah, because people aren't buying. It's so unaffordable.
It is. But obviously rates are coming down, but more programs. One of them that I want to talk to you is called the ACLP. But what I'm saying before we get to that, it's called the Apartment Construction Loan Program. It's one of the first good.
I've heard of it.
No, well, most people haven't. And that's why that's my job. To be honest with you, I'm still, you can see my marking, I'm still assimilating it so I can teach it, right? And explain it to my clients. But before I go there, the first culprit of the housing crisis, I think, are the municipalities.
Oh, yeah.
All the construction costs and all that stuff and the length and all of that.
Then in there blocking development.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what happened. You know that about GTA, right? With the Housing Accelerator Fund.
Yeah.
The billions that they got from the federal government, from CMHC, they turned around and increased development costs by 40%.
That's good.
This is no joke.
Yeah.
Ask Ron Butler.
That'll incent investors.
This is no joke. You know that this happened in the last couple of years. This is ridiculous. Yeah. How come nobody's stepping in? That money was designed to speed up construction.
On the small scale, I think most listeners can relate to. A gentleman out in Kitchener, he's building garden suites, small scale development. Yeah, garden suites. He posted his development charges, $40,000 to $70,000.
That's what I'm saying, right? So municipalities, culprit number one of the housing crisis. You got provinces like rent control. Geez, I mean, there's research on this that it kills the market, you know. And then of course the federal government. But I find my former employer and the federal government. This is one kind of avenue that's worth exploring. This ACLP, Apartment Construction Loan Program, is low-cost funding for construction. So the emphasis is, it's $30 billion, okay, ACLP, right, $30 billion, okay? And it's designed to put a little bit less emphasis on affordability. You still have, the MLI Select affordability, energy efficiency and accessibility. but a little less emphasis on that. Still is part of that, but more on construction, like supply issue that we're dealing with. Okay, and the key difference here, it's CMHC. This is key. I'm going to pause, make some effect on your podcast. CMHC is now becoming a lender again.
Oh,
Yeah. CMHC used to be a lender years before my time at CMHC.
I have no experience with it.
Yeah, no, you're too young puppy. Yeah, I know. You're not 62. I am. No, but I know the history of CMHC, right? I always like history. So CMHC used to be a direct lender. What happens is when you're the direct lender, you control the outcome. You're only not getting the financing if the desired outcome is achieved. That's what we need. My prediction, and I have high respect for Derek Lobo, and I follow everything he does. What he said is Western societies like Canada, sooner or later, like he agrees with me, this is one of the biggest problems we've had since the Second World War. Western societies always end up solving solutions like that, right? We're very slow now. We don't have good leaders in place, but sooner or later, they're going to catch on. And I think something like this, where you have specific financing that's very surgically targeted at getting what you want, which is supply, in this case, low cost of money, because it's the CMB program, like the Canadian bond market. So, and it's, listen, I mean, so it's only for market housing. It's not for single home occupancy or retirement homes. It's really to increase the supply, but you get a 10-year term, okay? 50-year amortization.
Whoa.
By the way, folks who are listening, this is the recipe for success. Not for everybody, but I just want to backtrack. And sorry, I've thought about our conversation, what I wanted to share with you. Like I said, I just came back from a friend's house in Ottawa where they're doing exactly what you're doing at a larger scale. They're buying multifamily properties in the U.S. for the reasons, and I completely understand why you're doing it, right? Because the market here doesn't take you anywhere. But I think people in Canada, we need also people smart like you and me to say, hey, we are Canadians, we have a good life, let's be part of the solution of building. So for me, I wasn't sure how to frame it when I was going to be sitting across from you. It's not my final act. I'm 62, but I'm strong as a horse. I still put my 40-pound backpack over mountains like I did when 20. No difference. So, intentionally, right? I stay fit, right? I don't have a big belly. You see me? I mean, I have gray hair, but the point is, let's look at opportunities in the U.S., but let's also look at how we can transform ourselves to become builders. Mm-hmm. This is one example. This is the best one I can so far know that is occurring, where if you do this, the kicker here is, guess you're getting up to 100% loan to cost. Erwin. Yes, pause for effect, folks listening. This can make millionaires. You take advantage of that. You build your team. Right. Builders, and it is a skill, and of course you've got to try to achieve economies of scale. We know what happened to construction costs the last few years. They've shot through the roof, over 40% the last 40 years. I think inflation is coming down, although I don't think prices are coming down that much. So I'm not sure to what extent, but this can make millionaires. Just like MLI Select at the beginning before they tweaked some of the rules, people made a lot of money. So yeah, and so interest only financed by the loan during construction through occupancy permit. So principal and interest payments are due after 12 months of stabilized effective gross income. Mm-hmm. So you can build, take your money out, build another one. What I'm saying is this is the first program where I see there's a real tangible possible solution to the housing crisis. Unfortunately, I don't see anything happening at the municipal level. I don't see much at the provincial level. This is the kind of example, if you want. Yeah, some people are going to get rich in the process, but we need to solve this housing crisis before it becomes a revolution, a social upheaval.
Right. But so what municipalities would you recommend for this program then?
No, but they get money. For example, we're just talking about the accelerator fund from CMHC that was given to GTA, and then construction costs. There's got to be accountability. You're supposed to use that money. So, but they need to come out, like maybe the money comes from obviously the federal government. I think it has probably. I mean, this is something beyond me, but I'm sure at least the idea is to be able to develop programs like that achieve the result that you want, and give incentives to business owners and developers to do it, which, as you know, they have none right now.
Right. But for the everyday investor, where should they? So if we solve at least the financing piece, they still need to find some land to develop, where should they be looking?
Well, so that's an issue. That's, you know,
We're just saying how municipalities are not that cooperative.
no, well,
There are some. There are some.
yeah, well, so this is a societal issue, Erwin. I don't know if we want to go there or not. This is where we're becoming too commies, too socialistic here. It's got to stop. It's not. It's damaging this country, right? Municipalities have to cooperate. So I think it's, and it's a problem with housing, as you know. It's not. Trudeau got flack for saying that it's not a federal jurisdiction. Mostly it isn't. We know that, and it's a challenge.
He also made this really painful, though.
Yeah. But so we need to get all parties, municipalities, the provinces, the federal government, to get together to find solution ASAP. To answer your question, I don't have a magic pill. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to, in my own thinking process, trying to come up with solutions. That's part of it. You've got to have programs like that are specifically targeted, and of course you got to open up land. Which is, you know, I was telling you before we started recording the podcast that, we keep talking about supply, but what's been forgotten is urban planning and saving land in especially large centers like GTA, Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, that can remain affordable instead of putting it on the market. And then there's been speculation, like sometimes the land is worth more than what you build on top of it. And so that was completely neglected.
That's not best use.
No, and it was completely neglected. Now you have people that cannot afford, like poor people living in downtown large cities. So yeah, it's just food for thought. I'm not pretending here, sitting here, but I know this kind of program, as the cost of money goes down, which we know it started and they will continue to do so in the next year or so. This is the kind of program that needs to be put in place to encourage construction, in my opinion. So it's pretty exciting. I'm pretty excited.
It carries a lot of weight.
Was that?
I think your opinion carries a lot of weight.
But it's just, you know, that's part of it, you know. But you have to create incentives to build, and governments have the key role to play in that. But CMHC, direct lender, so that's something I'm very excited about. And so I was trying to figure out which act this is, because as you know, I've had many iterations of my life, like you have. In my case, I had many as well, and so. For me, the way I look at this, and I'm saying this publicly, my kids are gone. I have a nice portfolio of apartment buildings. I can do whatever I want in life. I could retire. I'm not retiring. Why? I want to be part of the solution. I love Canada. I've always did. Very proud Canadian, Quebecer. All of that is part of it. And Albertan now. I want to be part of the solution. Yes, I want to make money. I'm not embarrassed to say that. This is not an embarrassment like, Christopher Frieden is telling us. That's BS. That's how the world has evolved and has progressed and has become wealthy. We've got to go back to some of these values. And yes, I want to help people out, and I want to help my kids. I see that the potential in the construction world is so tremendous. I see my two sons in a couple of years joining me in my brokerage firm. That's what I see. But my goal, as a final kind of career move, I don't think I'm going to have another act after this one, is to be the best multifamily broker I can be. And
including
I have the luxury
of multifamily.
Huh?
And development of multifamily.
Absolute development of multifamily. Of course, you got to take other people and get help out, but my focus is on construction. Focusing only on that. And I think, so again, this apartment construction loan program is one good program. We need more like that. And it's going to get very complicated when the cities and the provinces wake up, and federal government, this is the first good attempt. But when they wake up, you saw there's been rule changes in June, right, for MLI Select and stuff like that.
People were livid.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there was a major rush. Then everybody sent their files before the changes occurred. But I want to be a specialist when all these new rules are coming in place. I have the expertise, the wherewithal to stay on top of it and help people that want to make money. Nothing wrong with making money.
Like the way I see it is, I don't want my kids to be landlords. I think the most noble real estate investor is the developer.
Yeah,
people who are creating supply.
I agree,
because you're solving problems. Man.
Yeah.
You're solving the hardest problems and those problems are for the betterment of society.
And that's, like you heard, this is part of my goals, to be part of the solution, but at the same time making money. There's nothing wrong with that. I just find, you know, that we're landlords, we're bad people. I'm tired of that. That's BS. That's bullshit. It's got to stop. It's not doing Canada any favor.
You're not encouraging people to develop.
No. You know, we're becoming a poor country. People, I urge your listeners, we are becoming an impoverished country. This is not a joke. You know, our productivity situation per capita is dismal.
Yeah.
Dismal.
Yeah. I saw Benjamin Toll speak just a few months ago, and his words were along the lines of, "We are in a recession in terms of real GDP per
Oh yeah, we
capita,"
are. We are.
right?
Absolutely are. Yeah.
Which is a very important metric,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, so I'm excited. You know what? I'm excited. I'm healthy. Like I said, don't take life for granted, right? Lost a nephew who was one of my best friends. Lost two brothers last 2 years, 3 years. So you got to live with purpose, and you gotta give back. And you have been very good at giving back. I have been like that. I've helped a lot of people get into the multifamily world, and I want to help people get into the construction world and be part of it and partner up with builders. I'm open for business, folks listening. If you want to build, let's play, let's build, let's make money, and let's help solve the housing crisis. So it's very cool. To be in a place like that. You and I were talking about keeping balance. I have a fantastic life. I still travel abroad. I hike, I hunt, I ski. I'm present, being present, because you just don't know what's going to end. Like life, Like I said, my nephew, 42 years of age, left two kids behind. Didn't take care of his life. Had a heart issue to begin with, but he knew better. Should have done better. But it didn't. But the point is, sometimes you can die in a car accident. My gosh, your traffic here in GTA. Oh my gosh, I prepare myself.
You won't die in slow traffic though.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When I come here, when I'm thinking, okay, I'm in Toronto now, man, you get cut off. Like, oh my gosh, it's something else. I am happy on my acreage, looking at the Rocky Mountains, looking at my chickens in my chicken coop, or the deer that come into my on my land. Nice lifestyle.
You know exactly why Ontarians are so much more stressed out than other Canadians, because we live in traffic.
I have fond memories. I like coming back here, but been there, done that. Moved on.
So I want to go to like the everyday investor. Like take Adam for example.
Yeah.
Like Adam's like in his 20s still. What would your advice be to someone like Adam? How do you get started?
I love that question. So I was at the Ottawa Real Estate Forum just yesterday. Saw a lot of young guys. There's another group in Montreal. Like they were volunteer at the real estate forum, and I thought it was so cool. They were probably Adam's age. And I started chatting with him. I said, man, you guys are smart. So even Adam, smart to be here with you, learning from you.
Volunteering, attending.
Volunteering. Adam, are you volunteering? Oh, no, I won't put you on the spot. No, but you know what I'm saying? That to have that open-mindedness, and thank God, I know your kids are like that. Mine are like that. The world is their oyster. And so have an open mind. As you do, and find mentors, whatever you're trying to do. That's important. But yeah, start sooner. Now, my bag is multifamily. You do single homes. There are advantages and like pros and cons, but
there is no perfect, right?
No, yeah. But there's no doubt it's multifamily you have economies of scale, right? If you have the market right, but you can always mitigate your risk. Right? You don't have to borrow a 95% loan to value if you don't want to. So it's finding that balance. But yeah, to be open-minded, but start early. Don't be a spender on stupid things and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, find a mentor. But yeah, start early. I don't have regrets in life because everybody has their own path. And I come from a poor family in a mining town in northwestern Quebec. I'm number 9 of a family of 12 kids. I think I told you that, typical French Canadian family. So didn't grow up.
That's a lot of kids.
It's too many. It's ridiculous. But didn't grow up being taught financial management or any of these concepts. So I came to that very, very late in life. But for young people, start early. Get a good financial education. Read books. There's so much stuff now, right? And groups like you and I belong to RAIN and stuff, or training like yours or mine. That's what I would recommend to do. But do it early, and don't rely on the government for your well-being and your wealth. My kids know where I stand on that. You cannot. We're going to see stuff. So again, I'm a student of history, having traveled all over the world. I read like avidly about everything macroeconomics. We are witnessing significant changes in humanity. Not even mentioning the geopolitical situation. So I sat down. You don't know this, but so now I hang out with brokers. Being a broker myself, I went to a brokers conference in Whistler in February. One of the keynote speakers was Stephen Polas, former, governor of the Bank of Canada. Yeah, pretty cool conversation. Smart guy, down to earth like this. So I
Yeah.
crossed from me at the same table
Yeah.
and chatted with him. Wrote a book, The Next Age of Uncertainty, and I think Next Age of Uncertainty. So
That's a good title.
yeah, well, because I think the initial book by the former um, economist, one of those famous economists that escapes me. I don't know if it's Galbraith or something like that. It was the age of uncertainty. So his book is The Next Age. So picking up from where Galbraith or whatever other economists, but it's all these revolutions, the industrial revolutions, the invention of the steam engine and all that, and now where we're at with AI. I love the book. Well, he's a fantastic guy, and it's a good book. So we're witnessing. Yeah, I'm an optimist. I know I got it made for what I've got, and I'm a developer. I need to tell you about that. Well, my own land, but you don't rely on the government for your well-being and your wealth. You need to protect yourselves. You can't, people, this is what it deplores since the Second World War. Our societies became very wealthy and the government taking care of you, but I find that the ability of the government to take care of people is coming to an end, or maybe not a complete end, but we are asking too much from our governments, and they're taking too much space, too much room in the economy, and that's not good. You can see the results. We're going down the drain. So I'm saying, stop relying on the government for everything. Build your own independence, right? Living on your terms, your life on your terms. That's why I connect with with the guys, Rockstar, Tom, and Nick. That's part of my own values. But yeah, we're witnessing some significant changes in humanity, AI, and
I love AI.
Yeah.
I love ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I can't live without it anymore.
Yeah. See, I'm going there myself slowly.
I
Yeah.
can show you some things after we're done.
Yeah. No, I'd be interested to know that way how you use it for sure. But
For example, one simple thing I do is when I have a guest on the show, because I know you so well,
Yeah.
we can just have a conversation. But if a guest I don't know well, I'll take their bio, give it to ChatGPT. ChatGPT already knows who I am.
Okay.
Everybody knows I have a real estate based podcast.
Okay.
So I just say, prepare me questions.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Boom. Beautiful.
Yeah. No, it's and we have to use it, but it has some hazards as well.
Oh,
like
yeah.
and
That's not
ethically we have to look at that. But it's very cool. Bill Gates has a new series on Netflix, right?
He does?
Yeah. Very cool.
I wanna
So
see
one episode is on AI. And with the other episode, actually, it starts to show that episode starts. Hey, Bill, are you too wealthy? And he's got the pledge thing where all these billionaires are pledging their money.
That's
But
pretty cool. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
but there's what else? I think it's worth it. He's I like
Because
Bill
people
Gates.
forget he's the world's biggest philanthropist.
Yes.
Right? The
Oh
Gates
yeah.
Foundation is
Huge,
the
huge.
biggest.
Oh yeah.
Right.
He's giving most of his money away. You'll hear that in the episode.
Yeah. But
Oh,
even
yeah.
today, as of today, he's one of the top philanthropists. in
Yeah.
the world.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, don't rely. Start young, Adam. Start young, and pay attention. Read, educate yourself.
Yeah, Adam started young. He has a basement apartment in his place.
Yeah.
He house hacks.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah.
But if someone wants to be a developer or in construction, what kind of steps should they take? Any like tangible, like hire a realtor, find a wholesaler, go door knocking?
Oh. So
Research the market?
I'm gonna be honest. What you need. So I don't have the skill to build. I'm decently handy, but it's not my thing. Clearly. So
Well, to build 8 units would be even a big effort.
yeah, I think it's to find somebody. So for me, what my goal is to associate myself with professional builders. My job is going to be to get the financing done and all of that, and in exchange for a portion of the equity, and look for opportunities and interpret all these new programs that are going to be coming out to solve the housing crisis.
So
But
maybe joining the local builders association.
so
would be a
that's
good place
stuff
to
like
start?
that. Yeah, that's stuff like that I want to do. Actually, I'm here. That's partly what I'm doing here, is
Yeah.
trying to plug myself, connect myself. Tomorrow I'm meeting with an energy consultant. Partly, he's been on my workshop and all that, but he's got contacts in that world.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have any contacts, well, that's with the building world. And but yeah, it's just my first trip to Ontario because I'm licensed in Ontario and Alberta. But yeah, I want to connect with the developer world in Ontario.
Right.
But
You're-
find
you're-
somebody that has economies of scale, Erwin, right? It's like anything else. The more you do it, you have better systems. The only caveat I would say, and I was hearing that at the Ottawa Real Estate Forum, a lot of builders take shortcuts. You know that even on the condo world, like they take shortcuts when they build them. They're poorly built, so you got to be careful about that.
Yeah. My brother just bought a house it was about 20 years ago, and then the day he moved in, a breaker broke.
My son's girlfriend in downtown Toronto, same difference. She moved into an apartment, brand new.
Brand new.
It's flooded the wall, inside the wall. She had to leave her apartment, and the landlord wouldn't compensate her. She just brand new. She is the first tenant. One of those projects downtown.
What leaked?
It leaked inside the wall, the bathroom. I think I don't have all the details, but she had to.
But someone above, not.
No, in her unit.
Oh.
So, quality, right? How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
That's who said that? Oh, what's his name? John Asraf. How you do anything is how you do everything. Anyway,
Tom Kratz was the one that told it to me the first time.
Okay, well, I teach that. I'm sure you teach that to your kids.
And it was in the context of vetting people.
Yeah.
Like if someone had done some shady business with someone else,
yeah,
then you can expect them to do the same
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
So it's like so that's why I'm like a red flag, and
Yeah.
we can be friends. We won't do business together.
Yeah. And we need to return. So I've got this for your audience here. I've got two things I carry with me every day. So I carry this gratitude rock. I don't need it anymore, but I like it. I picked it up from the shores of Lake Titicaca on a big hiking trip to Machu Picchu with my older son who lives in Toronto now. So every day I put in my pocket that beautiful rock. I don't need it to be grateful. Now it's obviously clearly a habit. The other thing I carry is a coin, says Memento Mori, which is a Stoic philosophy of remember your mortality, has a skull and has an hourglass and a flame. The hourglass means time is passing by, life goes on, right? So make sure you live well, and the flame is symbol of life. But it's important to again to live with purpose and be able to leave a legacy, but also to have value in doing things well. And I find we're losing a lot of virtue. It sounds like an old-fashioned word, but to do the right thing when it counts.
Yeah.
We've got to go back to some of these core values. And I'm not particularly religious, but I find the Stoic had this kind of understanding of, sometimes it's good to suffer. One of the reasons I like to put on my backpack, go into the mountains, or even traveling, I do both. I will do the high-end traveling with luxury and all that, but it's one of the things when I liked about the mountains is my happy place. Put on your backpack. Your body has to carry all of that weight up mountains, up in higher altitude, and it's simplicity at its core. Well, the Stoics were like that. Sometimes it's good to suffer, to go and work with the peasants and to remember what it's like. And I come from humble beginnings where we were a poor family. So it's important, but to have this sense of appreciation and gratefulness, but also when you do something, like if you're going to build something, build it well, build it to last, not just to make money, just for the profit. Like, yes, I want to make money, but I want to be proud of what the end result is going to be. So for me, I'm looking for people who have similar values and I'm going to give it my all. I'm at a place, Erwin, like, unlike you, I don't have, my kids are gone. I choose to do this, and my goal, so that's the public commitment that I'm making, to be the best mortgage advisor for people who want to build housing in Canada. That is, and I have all the time in the world to do this, all the luxury to do that. So pretty cool. I'm very excited to be where I'm at today, and being part of the solution, because it is the biggest challenge that Canada has faced since the Second War. It's getting worse by the day. Just hope our leaders wake up. They're too slow to act.
I was at a conference on the weekend. There were a lot of builders there, and I was telling them how everyone should be thanking them.
Builders?
Yeah.
I said that to them. I said, my gosh, yesterday I said, you are so lucky. You're in the right place at the right time. Conditions still not completely right yet, because the cost of money and inflation, construction material. But I've said this exactly, something similar. Yesterday, one of the last speakers that we had was the mayor of Ottawa. And I was sitting at a table with builders, and I said, man, I wish I had your skills. Yeah. But like I said, I'm going to help people who have the skills to do it, and partner up with them. That's my goal. That's, that's pretty much my bit for where I'm at in life. Yeah.
But builders and developers, we really need them.
Yeah.
That's why I say everyone should be thanking them.
Yeah, I'm using the word interchangeably. Developers, builders, that's what I mean. Yeah. Oh no, we need them.
Yeah, because without them, who's going to build it? Who's going to create supply?
The social pressure is increasing so fast, Erwin. It is, like I said, it should be declared a a war effort where all three levels of government need to get together, municipal, provincial, federal, probably utopian to think that that can happen. I don't know, but that's what needs to happen. And the biggest flaw, when I looked again, I'm thinking of the U.S., and I go to the U.S. One of my best buddies is from the U.S., and we get together regularly, and I go. My wife now has a new job, so she's leaving for Atlanta on Sunday. She was in Chicago last week for work. She's a cardiac nurse, so she attends all these conferences. We need to go back to a place where people are accountable. The lack of accountability at all levels, especially civil service.
We're talking about government here.
I'm talking about the government. That has to stop. That has to stop. It is, and these people who are, and I used to be one of them, right, at CMHC. Like I told you, I get a pension. I can't believe that since I turned 60. They need to understand they're privileged. They don't have to, and we need to reward risk. So we need accountability, and we need to reward risk. That has to stop, and people have to wake up. It's not going well for us in Canada. We're becoming an impoverished country, and
A homeless, impoverished country.
on top of that, so that's very worrisome, and it seems so many people are unaware of that. So anyway, it's. Yeah. So anyway, that's my bit to try to solve that. Being a mortgage advisor and helping people do it to solve the housing crisis.
Mm-hmm. How are conversations going so far with the builders and whatnot with this new program?
Oh, this is brand new. By the way,
When was it announced?
Huh?
When was it announced?
No, this program. So this is the problem. It's not being announced that much. There used to be a program called, and it's funny because I met at the conference yesterday in Ottawa, the real estate conference, real estate forum. Two representatives of CMEC, and I told them about it. I said, this is a great program. This is what we need more of this. And but there was another program that used to be called RCFI, Rental Construction Financing Initiative. And I said, is it pretty much the same? They said, yes, we're just repackaging it. So they're going to announce it. But again, it's not being announced. It's already begun. This is in place. But in June.
You're the first person I've heard talk about it.
No, but that's my point. I'm very deliberate by coming here to you. And like I said, I'm putting together a presentation on this program. And that's going to be sort of my flagship presentation. Say, hey, let's use this. No, there's not a lot of announcements. It's a shitty marketing job on the part of the government. Most people haven't heard of it. But I don't.
It sounds.
I cannot explain it to you.
We need.
I cannot explain it to you, Erwin. Your valid question you're asking me, I cannot explain it to you. And we got training on this. That's why I'm saying. But this will make millionaires. Right. Somebody who's a builder, 100% loan to cost being funded, right? With low cost money through the Canada Mortgage Bond securitization. Mm-hmm. You build it, you take your money elsewhere.
Because we see in the States where they have excessive building and then rents come down, values come down. Yeah. Create more affordability.
Well, that's the issue.
We see significant subsidized housing in Asian countries. Yeah. So people can live on minimum wage. Yeah. People can have rent between like $400 or $500 a month. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But this program, the model exists.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said,
for us to all coexist.
And like I said, the issue with large municipalities like GTA, Vancouver, is there was poor urban planning to preserve some land for affordable housing, and that's. But I mean, I know this portion of the pie from a financing point of view, but surely people in governments have more access to more information. But
yeah, it's bonkers. Like we look at we're in Ontario, so you look at our GO train stations. Yeah, they can build parking lots. Why aren't we building condos on all these parking? You're right next to the GO train station. You have freedom to go wherever.
I'm truly alarmed at the fact that we don't hear more about. Housing is on everybody's mind, but how long have we been talking about it? Like the federal government only started in the last year or so, 2 years, I think, at the most, right? The federal government and Trudeau and company, but very little is still getting done, and time is running out, and the social situation, the social pressure is increasing. I'm flabbergasted. Yeah. Then again, probably I shouldn't be. It's government.
Like Trudeau bought that pipeline, Keystone, right?
But it got canceled. Keystone got canceled.
Sorry, the other one.
Trans Mountain.
So we had all that money for that, but we didn't build any housing.
We have natives without water, Erwin. natives without water, potable water, Erwin. How is that possible? But pot is legal now. Woohoo! Yeah. That was a big priority, right? Anyway, we don't want to go there because I rant against Trudeau is my favorite sport. But I'll say
easy. It's too easy.
Okay, but I'll say this much. I want to say this. I've been involved in politics since I was 16. I do have a degree in political science with a minor in international relations from UFT. When Pierre Trudeau, I'm guilty as charged, did retire, I was a delegate for the Liberal Party with my mother in Ottawa to choose his replacement. So I used to vote Liberal. I don't anymore. I'm a card member of the Conservative Party. I donate money. When Aaron O'Toole, previous leader of the Liberal Party, retired, I voted to replace his successor. I did not vote for Pierre Paul Turgeon. I voted for Jean Charest. But this is the two solitudes in Canada, right? It's classic. It's always been like that. Why I voted for Jean Charest? He's perfectly bilingual, left Quebec with a surplus, okay, when he was there. I never liked Pierre Paul Turgeon. I still not too fond of him. I think first of all, he's a career politician, so that doesn't score too high in my book when you don't have a lot of real life experience in running a business, which makes a whole difference. But nevertheless, so he got elected as leader. When I go back to Quebec, do you imagine, they put in Trudeau to Quebec in a large extent and some ridings here in GTA, as you know, right? I have to be very careful talking about politics. And when I try to have a conversation, I'm still not fond of Pierre Paul Turgeon. I don't vote for the man. I don't vote for the individual, the human being. I vote for the values and the general directions, i.e., don't spend more than how much is coming in. So, like, we have to stop spending just common sense, And yes, I believe Canada's broken, very, very badly broken. So I just urge people to get more involved. I have a brother, he doesn't vote. I said, he's older than me. I said, but that's the problem. That's a different problem. I could be in that category, right? I got gray hair. I'm kind of the last, the younger cohort of the boomers. These boomers have got so much money. I know they all came and bought the houses in Canmore, sold their houses here in GTA and bought those houses, $2-3 million in Canmore. I missed the market there, and I can still afford it, but I don't know if I want to do it. But the point is, they have so much money. They're sitting so much on money that I feel that they're kind of giving up on social activism and being involved because they're so privileged financially. I think that's wrong. So he's one of those, right? He's a little bit older than me, but 9 years older than me. He's got his pension and is not getting involved anymore. So we got to get back involved. We're all paying the price at the end of the day, and younger people.
Especially younger generation, they're screwed.
They're screwed big time. That's why you and I are in a position to help our kids. Otherwise,
because the way I see it is I benefited from all the government not so good policy.
Yeah.
So to me, it's only fair I give back to my kids because they got screwed in this.
I think it's part of our humanity. If you don't give back. So another quote, success unshared is failure. Michael DeJoy, I think he billionaire as well, but that's the quote. Success unshared is failure. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's part of my Christian values. I don't go to church, but was brought up as a Catholic, but I want to be part of, on your deathbed, you said, I helped others, I lived a good life, mm-hmm. I loved, I lived. I don't know, that's my philosophy.
You kind of need money to do so, though.
No, you have to have money. Money is you have to have money.
And I always think earning money through altruistic things makes it even more enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely.
And I would categorize development being a builder one of them. Not to say it's easy.
Yeah, no, but if you can provide value and make money at the same time, that's what an entrepreneur is, right? That's what it should be.
You build someone's home. You created value.
And it's the problem with our civil service. It's too large and it's too inefficient.
And growing bigger.
40% since Trudeau. You know that, the federal civil service?
Yeah, federal. And they're not doctors, teachers, healthcare, nurses, fire, police. They're not that.
Erwin,
CRA.
I'm going to leave you with that. So I like history. I studied it when I was here at U of T 40 years ago. The wars, the colonization and all of that jazz. I see a lot of similarities where slowly personal freedoms and rights were taken away. we are witnessing that in this country. I know it sounds like some kind of conspiracy shit. It's not. You just have to pay attention. It is happening. We're having our rights and freedoms slowly being taken away. People who make money, who take risk, are being looked at negatively. It's very scary. I don't know if I showed you this, but this is a book I read. Have you heard about this book?
I have heard of it.
Yeah. It says the author is Carol Roth. It says you will own, and then a bunch of things have been crossed out. You will own a house, it's been crossed off, right? Because it's hard to buy a house. You will own a car, it's been crossed out. You will own a business, it's been crossed out. You will own stocks, it's been crossed out. You will own your life, it's been crossed out. So at the end, you will own. The only word left that's not been crossed out is nothing. And it's real examples, and Canada's cited in this book, how we are slowly having, that's got to stop. It leads to revolutions. History repeats itself, Erwin. If we don't pay attention, this is happening to our country, Canada. I can't believe I'm saying this to you, but it's factual, not an opinion Pierre Paul has.
Anyone who studied a little bit of history and studied any sort of country or a country that's failed or had an economic collapse, which usually coincides with currency collapse, like it's not pretty.
No.
Right. Which is why I choose to own hard assets.
Absolutely. That's what you and I are doing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I want some US dollars.
Yeah. That's how the world evolved. People who create wealth, you need wealth to bring the rest of society upward. But so
and
you
productivity.
That's what I'm saying.
Housing.
Absolutely. You need to encourage that. Well, it's a fundamental need, so we screwed up on that one.
Now, can we talk about your course still?
No, but we can talk. No, not for the time being. To be honest with you, I put it on pause. But if people want a mortgage broker, so you kind of get a sense what my values are, where I'm at. All I am is a mortgage advisor specializing in commercial, residential, and construction financing, with an emphasis on construction financing. You can find me at my email is ppturgeon@maoki. So it's spelled the way it is, maoki.ca. PP Turgeon. I mean, you'll get my my credential.
Just be PPT at Maoki.
And
because I love the acronym because it means PowerPoint.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But anyway,
you can't get me off PowerPoint. Apple slides.
Oh, I'm Keynote. Well, I use no. Oh, I like it.
Guy, PPT.
But yeah, so PPT Turgeon, P Turgeon at Maoki, and yeah. But get your shit together. If you want to work with me, I want to work with pros. It's not, yeah.
I just want to learn to be a pro, though. That's why we need to talk about the course.
Yeah. Well, the course, yeah. For this fall, Erwin, reach out to me. There's a wait list. You can go to my website. It's the easy website. Multifamily Investing Canada, MIC, multifamilyinvestingcanada.com, MIC. And I should have one after Christmas, but not this fall. This fall, I'm just, focusing on my mortgage advising portion of the business.
But you want pros. You need to produce some pros.
Yeah.
Because you can't wake up and become a pro.
But the only difference, Erwin, so it's a game, right? Getting financing is a game. I know what they want. That's why I was able to teach it all these years. And it is my pet peeve. And again, my legal training makes it that I need to have it as perfect as I can so that my loan is approved right off the bat. Because especially...
You need your money.
You need your money, exactly, especially if you're building, right? So it's even more stressful. Yeah. So, yeah, but no, I'm happy to give people a free half hour to get you started, what I need and stuff like that. But it's all about numbers. What's your income? So if you buy an existing property, what's your income? What are your expenses? And that I'm pretty good at as well, because being an owner myself. But what are your numbers? Give me numbers, and then I can run. So half hour free consultation. Right. If you have some documentation. I can produce a spreadsheet, and like I said, there's a fantastic tool that we have. It shows all the financing options, whether you go MLI Select, conventional, or CMHC standard. It's a fantastic visual. I'm highly visual, and this is what we've got in our office. And our office only does multifamily. We don't do residential. We're under the
multifamily residential.
Multifamily residential. Yeah. Well, it's 5 units or more. Let's be clear. It's 5 units or more, right? Below that is residential, if you will.
Right. So no strip malls, industrial.
No.
Just residential 5 units and up.
Yeah.
What is Maoki? Is it an acronym for something?
It is. Oh no, don't ask me. I'm not used. I've got the definition somewhere, but not here with me. But yeah, it's got a meaning. I should have known that. I asked it when I joined the firm.
Yeah. It sounds like a name of a whale or something.
It's got a meaning. I apologize. I'll send it to you, or when I go back today, I'll send it to you. One thing I want to stress about this team. Why did I join this team? Aren't you? You haven't asked me that question. They're from Montreal.
Okay.
And I'm still being approached to work with other people in Western Canada, but it's a number of reasons. I read a book when I got my licenses. I'm licensed in Ontario and Alberta. Dustin Woodhouse, he was president of Mortgage Architects, which, as you know, does residential only. And I read his books, and he kept saying, you can reach out to me if you want to chat. I did. I said, well, I told him my credentials, worked at CMHC, I have a portfolio of apartment buildings, and what do you think? Where should I go?
Well, yeah, you got pretty high up. You got pretty high up on the website.
I got the perfect guy for you. Talk to David Méran. And he used to be, I think, with BMO. His mom worked at BMO. And what I liked about this firm, what I still like, first of all, I get back to my French-Canadian culture. And David, our main broker, is also licensed in Ontario and Alberta, like me. I interact in French as well in the multifamily financing world. I like that. I'm not going to suffer from Alzheimer. My brain is still constantly going, but you don't have to use the lingo in both English and French. I love that. That's a nice mental exercise. But I would say it's the underwriting department as well that I like. When I teach, my pet peeve is like exactly. For me, that's why I created a course, because I know exactly what's required to get your deal approved right away. Because if you have delays, even if it's just you're buying an existing property and you got a waive condition and it's stressful, right? Even more so if you're building. So make it perfect upfront. My pet peeve is presenting. Remember, I had a presentation at Rain. It was the perfect financing application because I know exactly what button needs to be pushed. That's the value. Those guys, some lenders, I don't know how much more time we have, but it's very interesting. As pressure mounts to solve the housing crisis, I definitely want to talk to you about that. Until I became a mortgage broker, I didn't have direct access to lenders, right? Because when I was at CMHC, the financing route was already decided upon by the investor, borrower, and the bank or mortgage broker. Now, why I'm a mortgage advisor is I have to figure that out. What's the best way to finance your project, whether an existing property or a construction? So together we figure out a way to do it, okay? And when I teach, I put a lot of emphasis on making sure that this is how it's done. It's truly, I'm a foodie. I cook a lot. I know you do too. It's a recipe. Follow the recipe, okay? There were lenders in the last little while with all these changes, like large lenders. I'm not going to name them, but they're the big ones, okay? Just read between the lines that had their wrists slapped by CMHC. We're talking since Christmas. Big, you see all their ads by CMHC because they didn't have their shit together. Our files never had that because they were perfect. So this is the kind of value that this firm has.
And then you get speed.
Speed. We don't get issues. We don't get issues with CMHC when our files go through. Speed. Yeah, it has to be. Yeah. And it has to. My job when I teach is always make the job of the CMHC underwriter as easy as possible. Yeah. Same thing I used to do as a lawyer.
Top of the list, right?
Same thing I used to do as a lawyer. When I was a lawyer, Erwin, I'd go to the front of the judge. I was a litigator, and I had a binder with tabs. And my job was to take the judge by the hand, lead him or her to my decision that my client should win. Same idea. You take the hand of the underwriter and you give them exactly what they want. And it's a recipe. It's not complicated. It is an expertise. I'm not going to deny that. But that's why I like these guys. The underwriting department is spot on. We have now with technology, we are integrating technology, a CRM system whereby I know what's your birthday, what religion you are at, and, we can make sure that we treat you as a client properly and efficiently. And pretty cool, pretty exciting. Big learning curve. Well, I'm beyond that now, but it was at the beginning to learn all that. But that's why Maoki, our reputation is extremely good with the lenders and, CMHC. So I want to keep it that way. That's why I joined them.
One last time, where can people reach out to you?
So P Turgeon at maoki.ca. Phone number, I'm going to give you a different number, but that will work as well, but 403-966-9300. 319. Again, I'm more than happy to spend a half hour with anybody who wants to either buy an existing property or build one. Try to have something tangible so that it's a worthwhile call. Like if you have some numbers, if you want to buy, so that's something I'm going to be doing. After this interview, somebody wants me to run some numbers, I can run some numbers. But if ideally have some numbers if you can, hopefully that hold water, and I can give you an idea what kind of financing you can get. And construction, well, then it's more complicated. Make sure you have ideally what your construction costs are validated. But the point today, I know, and even you, and this message for you as well, I know what your business model is, but we should all consider switching to construction, because more programs like the ACLP are going to be needed and coming out. And that's kind of a conversation I had with Derek Lobo when I took his development course. We have to solve this housing crisis. So I'm just planting the seed in people's mind. There's opportunity in the U.S. because it's a more liberal market, but we are going to have tremendous opportunities here in Canada.
I may just wait till the kids are out of the
house. That's wise. No, and you don't want to miss that part. I was there, worked from home like you. I was extremely present. Do that first.
Pierre Paul, thank you so much for
spending
your birthday with us.
Yeah, well,
Should we all sing happy birthday?
No, you can pass on that.
I think everyone just hit stop.
Well, thank you for having me here. When always a pleasure. You're a gentleman, a scholar, and I look up to you. You make a difference in people's lives, and I think you and I we share similar values. It's important, and because we've made it. I mean, it's always in progress, making it right. It's never an ending story, but we're in a place of privilege, and we need to give back. And you and I share similar value, and I appreciate you for that and having me.
Thank you, Pierre Paul.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Erwin.
All right, friends, that wraps up another episode of the Truth About Real Estate Investing show for Canadians. Hope you got as much out of this one as I did. Remember that whether you're just starting out or a seasoned investor, there's always something new to learn, and it's always about building that practical knowledge base that gets you closer to financial freedom. If you found value today, please do us a favor and leave us a review or a rating, share this episode with a friend, or better yet, join our community of real estate investors who are taking action and making moves. And hey, if there's a topic you want us to cover or have there's a certain guest you'd like us to have on the show, drop me a line. My DMs are open on social media. Reply to this email that this have arrived on. I'm not hard to find. We're all about getting you the unfiltered truth to help you on your journey. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next episode. Until then, stay smart, stay curious, and keep building that future. Catch you later.